can't get enough of that. I can't get enough of that.
You always laugh.
Because it makes me feel some kind of way. It makes me totally feel some kind of way knowing that I made that, and I'm proud of that.
You should be.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a dope ass song.
I think it's dope.
Yep.
I think we should put a poll up. What you think?
Like a poll about the song?
Well, it's not really a song, it's a snippet. I mean,
Uh-huh.
What
do you want the poll to say?
Who likes it? Who thinks it's stupid?
Oh. I mean, no one's going to say they think it's stupid. I'm just saying.
We
do got some haters out there. We got some haters.
We got a couple haters, but it's okay.
That's how you know we out there. When you got some haters commenting on your shit.
Bro, like for real.
That's okay though.
It's alright.
It comes with success.
I guess. I mean, 250 followers though?
Yep.
250? Ooh. First season? I'm proud of that. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Yay! Fake clap. Anyway, so this is episode 10. 10.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the sound effect.
We did that. We'll add that. Yeah. Episode 10.
Season 1.
Season 1 complete. Well, after this. But yeah. I mean, obviously our season 1 because we decided to do 10 episodes. Just because that's a normal for some like shows
pilots,
and stuff.
Shows, Game of Thrones type of thing.
I mean, when we go to season 2, are we going to do episode 11 or are we starting at 1 again?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We'll have to
We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. They don't want to hear us talk about our logistics right now. What they really want to hear about is what we're here to talk about today. And it's an interesting topic. Like, because what's it called again? Imposter Syndrome.
Yeah, so like, I mean, for any of the viewers that have seen the show, we love the show. It's called Insecure.
Insecure, bro.
Written by Issa Rae, if anyone knows, funny show. So we follow this show, and what is it now? The 3rd season, I believe. What season are we on?
I believe it's 4.
The newest season has come out, so we constantly are watching the new one, newest one. But the last episode that we had watched, like we kind of watched the ending too. We're nerds, so we watched the end where they kind of talk about the episode and like discuss. They had brought up this term called Imposter Syndrome. So then I asked him, like, what is that? What do you know what that means? And like, I don't know. Go ahead.
I got a base knowledge of what it might mean. I mean, imposter, impersonating something you're not. And for those of you who do watch the show, we're going to do this in a fashion where we're not trying to spoil it. You know what I mean? But in the same sense, we're going to talk about a little bit of detail within the show. So it's like impersonation, like, I guess you can put it in the terms of like impersonating a police officer, but we're in the sense of successful people feeling like they don't belong where they are at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like for her, she came a long way. Let me tell you, our girl Issa came a long way though.
Yeah.
And she puts on this amazing, she has this amazing nonprofit idea. And, she has to go around and get sponsors and things like that. And it's a festival. It's a music festival for the neighborhood. And so when she finally gets there and it's all put together, there's a couple of scenes where you can see in her face where it might be a little difficult for her because a little bit of self-doubt. And so that's where I got it from. I'm like, oh, okay. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Somebody's in a successful situation and they don't feel like they belong right when they're about to perform or something like that. Like artists go through that. You know what I mean? That's why they have their own. I mean, I do it a lot. Folks. A lot when it comes to my music. She gets upset.
You'll see my face. What I mean.
Right. I mean, I get upset with myself. I mean, that's a whole other topic. We're not even going to.
But I don't even think it's like not specifically like when you're there. Well, my understanding of it, as far as like what I read, is like just in general. Like if you are successful, or like let's say you get like a promotion or whatever, like you attribute it to something not related to you. So you attribute it to like, oh, there wasn't enough people like applying, so that's why I got it. Or like if something happens where you do good, like you're successful and like you get a client or whatever, like a big client, like it's because you got lucky and you got to them first. Like you don't attribute it to like, okay, I did good. Like you have to have an excuse as to like, or not an excuse, but like there has to be some other reason. It was luck, or it was something else that caused you to get that success, not the fact that you did good and you were the best
Right, it's
option.
kind of like a
you know what I mean?
self-sabotage.
Yeah, you.
Okay. Yo, I'm working on myself all the time, so don't even worry about that.
I do that too. I feel like, I don't know if it's everyone.
I think everybody does it.
But I feel like at some point in your life, like you gain success, or you like are successful in something, but you feel like you don't deserve it. Or like something comes up in your head where you're like, I don't know, if, like not self-sabotage, but you just kind of put another idea in your head that it wasn't you, it was something else that attributed to your success. And I feel like whether people do it all the time, I know you do it all the time, and I know I
won't say all the time. I do it majority of the time.
Well, not all the time, I'm sorry, but you do it in certain things, certain aspects of your success. When it comes to your music specifically, you do it a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'll do it a lot in certain areas of my life too. I feel certain areas, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But like, for example, like I feel like you probably don't do it if you feel like you're good at something, because you know and you accept the fact that I know I'm good at that. Like maybe your job, I don't know, for like, you know what I mean? Like if you do something right at your job, you know, like, oh well, I'm good at what I do.
Yeah, but do you think it's attributed to what other people think about it? You know what I'm saying? So like, if people don't react the way you want them to react to something, do you think that's when that sabotage, or that impersonation feeling comes into play? I mean, just think about it for a second from a standpoint of you being good at, I don't know, football. Uh-huh. We're not going to talk about sports. Let's do something else. You being good at report writing, you know, and you know you're good at report writing because you never had a report returned to you or whatnot. It's always come A's in school and things like that. Mm-hmm. But then, like, nobody acknowledges it. So do you think that has a contribution to how you would feel like you're an imposter? Like, well, maybe I'm not so good? Because I know for me, and I hate to pull up sports again, that happened to me in college. Like, I was really good at high school sports and stuff like that, and I got to college, and then there was, like, 50 dudes that were just like me at my one school, and
Yeah, I can see that, and I mean, I see where you're coming from. My understanding of the topic, or what would you call imposter syndrome? The issue. I mean, I don't know if it's a topic. Anyways, my understanding of it, it's you doing that on your own. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I can see how maybe it can turn into that, because of you not getting either positive or any type of reinforcement from others. I can see how it can turn into feeling like an imposter at some point if you initially feel like you're good at something. But in another sense, I feel like it could also take you away from that.
So take this podcast for instance. Like at the beginning, we were making all of our podcasts, and the only thing that we were focusing on is followers, right? Mm-hmm. And we put out 3 podcasts or whatnot, and over 2 weeks you only get 5 followers. You know what I'm saying? That can really set into a person on their grind. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if we were to focus on that, we're better off now, because we weren't really focused on the
amount of people following?
Right.
Yeah. But so what are you saying? Are you saying that we would have had imposter syndrome? Did you have imposter syndrome regarding this podcast?
I mean, no, you...
because we started getting, you know what I mean?
I mean, you kind of... I don't want to say I had it. I don't even fully know what it is yet. You know what I'm saying? So, I just... there's some self-doubt. Are people going to listen and stuff like that, instead of just focusing on the creativity portion of it.
Right.
And that's
what we
when
did.
It took off. Yeah, and that's why we can do video now.
No, but even before that, I feel like we always just focus. I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, when you start something, you always have to we have to start from point zero. You know what I mean? And we have to get to a point where we have people. But I don't think that we reached a point where we were we're getting too much success and because that's what it is. You feel like you're getting too much success, and it's because we're lucky, or you know what I mean? I don't think that we've reached that point where we feel like we're doing too good in this podcast that we shouldn't be. I feel like we're still hustling, you know what I mean? And we're still...
all day long.
Yeah, so I feel we're just doing the normal work, and we know what we have, we know what we can offer, you know what I mean? And the skills that we've learned as far as video recording, and the skills that we've learned when it comes to all this, it's all coming to fruition for both of us as learning tools. But you know, at some point, if we plan to make this like a big thing and we get like a successful following where it becomes, you know, then like we've already figured it all out. You know what I mean? Obviously the video, and we figured out everything, and now it's just you and me doing this thing where we got this podcast on lock. Now we just have to, you know, become this, get this following and become this successful like podcast. Then there it may kick in, but right now we're just hustling.
Yeah, but for Isa in the show, there was a moment, you can see it on her face. There was a moment of like self-doubt, like, you know, I did all this for nothing. It's failing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And, I mean, that can happen for us too. You know what I mean? Like, it can happen, but I think it depends, and that should be, sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
You know me. I think it depends on, like, what's the word? What you feel you're going to get out of it. And that's how I guess that's my main takeaway from everything regarding this topic.
Right, the expectation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
But not just the expectation, but more like, why are you doing it? Like for Issa, like why was she doing that? Was she doing that for herself to try to prove to herself that she could do something?
Ooh,
you know what
question.
I mean? Or was she doing it for like obviously the block party and like the people? Was she doing it for the people because she felt like, oh, I want there to be something where these people can come? It may be both things. She may have done it for both reasons, but I feel like it was more for her. Because she was just going down a path where shit wasn't going right for her, so she needed something.
Like, they gotta watch the show.
Yeah. So anyways, I know we're talking a lot about the show, but you know what I mean? Like, so, I feel like when it comes to just in general life, like, in success and what comes, like, the good things that come in your life, like, are you doing them for you? Mm-hmm. Like, you have to realize, like, why are you doing these things? You know, and what do you hope to get out of them? Like, if you do good, like, if, you know, in career-wise or whatever business endeavors you have, if you are successful in that, like, what's your purpose? You know?
What's your purpose? That's a big word, because even just, like, I mean, that's struggling for people who are, like, struggling with, like, depression and things like that. Like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's, like, it's a real diagnosis. I mean, there's some things that we've read online and stuff like that, and, you know, psychologists and, you know, psychiatrists and stuff like that treat people for this type of thing. And it says that it comes with highly successful people.
Right. Oh, yeah,
who are
definitely.
always, like, doing things that are great. You know what I mean? Like artists, actors, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Because they don't feel, you know, they put, like, I don't know, what did it say? Oh, I forgot. I want to see it. It was a really big word. I wanted to say it, but I forgot to write it down. Whatever. They want to feel like people genuinely like them and their art, and not just their art and their success.
Not just for their money or whatever. You know?
Right, like a trend or something like that. So, in real life terms, I mean, that can go from the successful businessman to the successful artist, the athlete, all the way down to the single mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you can talk about that, like, you know, you may just have a clumsy kid, or you just may be trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people have to realize that, in my belief, everybody suffers from it. You know what I'm saying? There's a such thing as being overconfident, and I see it in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I believe that can get you in more trouble. And this is just my belief, folks. This ain't like set in stone. This is my belief. That can get you in more trouble than actually being humbled. That word comes up
definitely.
a lot.
Yeah, I see that.
And if you can't recognize it from you won't recognize it from the beginning, because nobody will ever tell you that. They'll just keep following you, or they'll keep pumping your head up, or whatever, gassing you up. That's the term. You know, you gassed up.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, somebody really putting you in your place, or a group of people putting you in your place, and saying like, yo, you know, you ain't supposed to be here, dog. It's like you in the wrong neighborhood, dog. You ain't supposed to be here. And it checks your soul a little bit. Mm-hmm. And people make that slide down to you know, no man's land. Nobody wants to be. And it kills your confidence. I know it kills my confidence sometimes. But in terms of that, for me, it's never killed my confidence to the point where I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I understand that. But then I feel like that's contradictory to the whole thing, like what you're saying. Because...
How so?
Because this thing, our topic, is saying that you should be confident about your success. You know what I mean? Like, the people that have this are saying they're not confident about their success in themselves. They're saying, like, oh, it was luck, or it was attributed to something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the opposite of that would be to be confident about yourself, and would be to be like, you know what, I'm successful because I did that, not because, you know what I mean? That's what the opposite would be, right?
Okay.
So so to me, like, that's contradicting. You know what I mean? To be like, oh, well, don't be so overly confident about it. It's like, well, then what are you saying? Like, either I attribute my success to the fact that I did that and I'm, you know, I got talent or I got whatever, or you attribute it to something else. But obviously what we're saying and what we're trying to understand is you shouldn't attribute it to other things, because if you're successful, yeah, maybe something did come into play, but at the end of the day, you still did that.
True. Oh, so here's a question. So put that in a relationship standpoint. When you see the guy, the nerd kid, or it could be a nerd girl, it doesn't matter.
With the cheerleader?
Nah. I mean, just with like the perfect girl, the perfect tens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that happens too.
You know what I'm saying? So how would you think? Do you feel like that the nerd person, or it has to do with confidence? I know that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So like, do you think that like they can be suffering from this syndrome or something like that?
Definitely.
That'd be kind of. I mean, like, I'm not supposed to be with her, but I am. But then, in my standpoint, I'm like, yeah, that dude, that tech guy, that nerd or whatever, he's got more hidden confidence than you think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He may be the shy person, or she may be the shy girl or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, nah, he got it on lock for a reason. And it's not because of money or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's like he's confident in himself and stuff like that. So.
But even if sometimes they're not confident in themselves, you know what I mean? But that then becomes the person that sees that in them. Like, the other person, I guess the pretty girl or the perfect girl, sees something else in this non-perfect or whatever you want to describe, nerdy guy, whatever. They see something else in them, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the times it's not confidence. You'll have like those little times where you have the nerdy tech guy that's super confident, but it's really not always that, you know?
So are there like, there's like types of this syndrome,
yeah,
right?
So I was reading. So I guess, and I don't really know, like it explains just different ways to recognize it. I guess different identifiers. I don't know if it's just types, but just ways to identify what it means, right? So the first one is called the perfectionist, which is totally me. And basically it says perfectionists, like they'll set an excessively high goal for themselves, and when they reach the goal they experience major self-doubt or worry about measuring up. So basically, like, you know, you do really good, so now you have to set that standard or go above that standard because you did so good that you're always doubting yourself, because if you do less than what you did, like, you know, you know,
so
it's the perfectionist thing where you always want to meet perfect because you know you have that ability.
So if you're like if you fail or something like that at getting to a level or something like that, it's going to be a really big impact on you. Yeah,
because you know where you were. Like, right, to you, perfection to you is always, you should always be at that baseline, and you keep yourself at that goal. So, you know, it says to ask yourself questions like, have you ever been accused of being a micromanager?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
I never have, but I feel like I am.
Yeah.
Or like if it says if you have like a great difficulty of like delegating, which I don't, but.
It's funny you should say that, because that's totally not true.
I don't have a hard time delegating. But I guess
you know what?
It says
you're totally right. You don't.
But then it says, like, do you feel frustrated or disappointed? Yeah. In the results.
Correct.
Anyways, so it says for this type, like the perfectionist type, success is rarely satisfying because they believe they could have done even better. And with that, again, like, I mean, is it the overly confidence? I don't know. But you're always self-doubting. So that's where that comes from. It's always that doubt.
So I've always had the questions like, if you self-doubt, do you sabotage yourself or do you make yourself better?
I think it depends on the person. So that's why, like, this perfectionist type of person, that's what, like, it's trying to explain to you. This perfectionist type of person is always trying to do better for themselves because of their self-doubt.
Right, because if you don't, because I'm just follow my logic real quick. So if you're this perfect person, there's no such thing as perfect. We already said that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just trying to be the best at whatever, and you don't have any self-doubt, then what drives you?
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're at the top of the mountain, you know what I'm saying? And people always say it's lonely at the top. I'm sure you've heard that. And people are trying to chase you. So you have people chasing your throne to keep your drive alive.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm not good enough to climb this mountain. And now you're going to chase harder because somebody or the person at the top is saying you don't belong here or whatnot. So you're going to.
But even the person at the top is having to do something to keep themselves up there.
Right. I mean, that's even harder. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good thing having a little bit of self-doubt in your life. You're like, no, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it hard. I'm gonna walk hard, do a cock story hard.
So, but in the end, if you do it, once you do it, don't
do it.
No.
I'm sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it. We're gonna stop saying do it right now.
I have to say it again in my sentence. I'm not done.
Quickly.
Well, once you get there, how about that? Okay, once you get there, you kill my little I got the train and the train is gone, but it'll come back. Once you get there, don't
I ruined it. My fault. I'm fault. It'll come back.
No, it's there. I just can't get it out.
Well, just move along.
Anyway,
just move along.
Just don't attribute it to something, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't attribute it to luck or whatever because, you put in that work. Anyways, Second type is called the Superwoman/Superman. So it says, since people who experience this phenomenon are convinced they're phonies amongst real deal colleagues, they often push themselves to work harder and harder to measure up. But this is just a false cover-up for their insecurities, and the workload may harm not only their own mental health, but their relationship with others. So it says, ask yourself, do you stay later at the office than the rest of your team, even past the point where you've completed the day's necessary work? Or do you get stressed when you're not working and find downtime completely wasteful? Do you see yourself as that person that's always trying to do more?
When it comes to no.
Once you're done, or what I mean?
No, I'm always looking to. Even if it's a great piece, I think in being an artist, you have to find another way to make it better. It's like the Holy Grail. You're always searching for something to make it better. This isn't a product line. You know what I'm saying? Product line where it's the same Dodge Dart is going to be the same Dodge Dart. It's not an assembly line, you know what I'm saying? So for me, if from the artist sense, you're always you make a great masterpiece. Everybody loves it. It's selling. You're a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to reach that goal, but you're always going to reach further than that goal. Well, if I just sold 1 million of these, I want to sell 2 million of the next one. It's got to be better. So my downtime, and I don't waste time.
Yeah, but what this is saying, and putting it into your artwork, because obviously, your music is separate from your work. When it comes to your music, have you put aside, your job and other stuff because you're putting so much into your work, your music?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Because some of the other things that I put aside, like sleep. I know it's important. Don't judge me. But in the same sense, it has to happen.
So you're trying to be a Superman in your music?
In a virtuality, yeah, I'm trying to be a Superman, a father, a friend. I'm trying to do all these things, and without sacrificing family time, my time, me time,
and that's what this is saying, is that you sacrifice everything. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Yeah. No.
To understand that you're not that. Because you don't sacrifice other things for that. You know what I mean? You know how to, delegate your time. This is saying that you put all of your cups into one thing.
Right, all your eggs in one basket. I got you.
Yeah, I'm obviously I was trying to figure it out.
I got you, dog.
Anyways, so I don't think you're that. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think you are like to that point.
Yeah, I don't live, eat, breathe,
You're not, like,
sleep. I can't do it.
obsessive to the point where like.
Oh no, I'm obsessive. Trust
Well,
me.
yeah,
I just can't. I understand that there's the survivability of my artistry and the things that I need to do, and you know, things I need to purchase, people I need to learn from, places I need to go, and stuff like that. I need to earn money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, I have to do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have to have a grind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a very, trust me, it's an extremely delicate balance for me. Extremely delicate balance. Where from that whole, everything that I do, I'm the first person that's going to feel the sacrifice first, not anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And I like to say I'm pretty good at it. At times.
No.
Sometimes I fall, but at times I'm pretty good.
I've seen you at your
Oh yeah,
worst.
no doubt. No doubt about it.
So the third type, there's 4. So this is the third one. It says, it's called the natural genius.
Okay.
So people with this competence type believe that they need to be a natural genius. As such, they judge their competence based ease and speed as opposed to their efforts. In other words, if they take a long time to master something, they feel shame. So it says, ask these questions for you. Are you used to excelling without much effort? Do you have a track record of getting straight A's or gold stars in everything you do? Were you told frequently as a child that you're the smart one in your family? When you're faced with setback, does your confidence tumble because not performing well provokes a feeling of shame? So basically, like always being good at something, or like, you know, feeling like you're always been that straight A kid or always being good, like, does that, because it's supposed to be natural to you, does it affect you when you don't do good, causing shame or causing you to like? No,
it's disappointment. You know what I mean? But when you learn, I don't know, how did this turn into an interview with me?
Actually, you're taking it upon yourself to put it on you. We're just bringing up the topics, but I mean, obviously this affects you, so let's go ahead, write it out, bro.
I don't wanna.
Go ahead.
But you know, natural ability and stuff like that, and it plays a part. There are some things I would wish I was better at, and it takes time, and it's taken time to get to where I am now. But
so do you see yourself as a natural genius?
No.
You just you took it and ran. No. So now I have to ask the question.
No.
Yes, you do.
No. Okay, look, I really have an innate ability. Me, my children, and I, my brother. I mean, in our family, we have a really, really innate ability to pick things up very, very quickly, extremely quickly, and it's a dangerous thing because then we get bored.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a thing for me in school, and so like that. It's a thing for my kids in school, and so you know I got to continue to challenge them. So.
But see, what this is saying is because of that, because. Like, I mean, for myself, I was the smart one in the family. I was a straight A kid. Like, I was always the one that, like you know what I mean?
Right, well, then you answer the question.
No, but I'm saying, like, I don't know if it brought shame to me if I did bad. Is that what you're saying for yourself?
No,
That's what this is saying.
No,
I've
never felt shameful.
Okay.
About.
So this is saying that the person, like, I don't know, those kids that hold themselves to the standard where it always has to be perfection and it always has, like, when they don't do good and they get a freaking A-, like it becomes like death. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, this is what that's saying.
Well, I believe that's family oriented and parental. That's a lot of pressure. That's pressure.
It can be, yeah, but it can also be in yourself. Like you just put these expectations on yourself. You know what I mean? As an adult, like it doesn't even have to be as a child.
You're talking about a kid, and those you got to understand that. Well, from my standpoint, things start when they're young. Yeah, so if those expectations are high when they're kids. Now, don't get me wrong. Having high expectations for your kids is a good thing, but pushing them to the point where it becomes obsessive and compulsive for them, I don't think that's very healthy.
Yeah.
Because it kind of narrows their growth in my sense. You know, it won't let them grow. We talked about the tree thing. You know, they're always going to be this straight and narrow and have a certain amount of shade because they are so focused on being whatever it is that they are supposed to be.
Right.
Versus being a Renaissance man that is good at everything and has a lot of shade for everyone. You know what I'm saying? I want to be well-rounded versus the rocket science.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
So I get it.
So there's actually 5, sorry. But there's the 4th one says it's called the soloist. So it says sufferers who feel as though asking for help reveals their phoniness are what they call the soloist. So basically, like you know, do things on your own. You don't ask for help.
Right.
Like if anybody's like, do you need anyone's help? You always say no. That's what that means.
Self-explanatory.
I have that. I don't like asking for help.
Very true.
And the last one is the expert. So experts measure their competence based on what and how much they know or can do. Believing they will never know enough, they fear being exposed as inexperienced or knowledgeable. So basically, like, they feel like they have to have all the knowledge, you know what I mean, and whatever they're doing in order to be successful. Like, if you go and ask them a question and they don't know the answer, then that's...
Yeah. I'm not that. I understand I used to be that way because the things that I did were individual, you know, when it's come like video games or even like, I learned how to play on a team very early. But then I was also in individual sports and stuff like that. So I understood that me being by myself, I was going to be good. But as becoming an adult and understanding people and understanding the success that you can have with a team versus being solo, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the Warriors didn't have that three-peat by themselves. Steph Curry didn't do it by himself. You know, he had a team.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan didn't get his rings by himself. You know what I'm saying? And when you grasp that, that's the success that people can gather and get for whatever they're doing, whether it's in life. It takes a village to raise a child. If you have a big family, your whole family's going to raise your child. You know what I'm saying? Grandma's going to chancla. You know, grandpa's going to give money and ice cream at midnight. You know, auntie's going to be crazy auntie. You know, it just goes all the way around. So having a team, and so that's, you know, with you and people who help out with social media and the people who help me out with editing. Shout out to my man Mo Hines Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? That's my man right there. He got real. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'll leave it alone. But just that support is key to the success. So I definitely don't have that syndrome at all.
Yeah.
Because I recognize how I got to places. I wouldn't be here or be doing this if it wasn't for certain people. You know what I'm saying? I've been sitting on projects and stuff like that for a long time, and then, you know, putting them out there and then having you listen to them and you pushing me to put things out attributed to my success and where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So I understand that. You gotta have a strong team, bro. You can't be an individual. This ain't, unless you're doing like Olympics and shot put and discus, you know, stuff like that, but.
Right. So, I guess the finale or the conclusion, whatever we want to say about this topic.
Imposter syndrome.
We both have it.
Yeah. I said from the beginning that everybody has it. I just think like the recognizable points.
Yes.
Is really important. It's really key.
But we pretty much like talked about the fact that we both have it.
Oh, yeah, trust me. If I ever get into like a room with like a Grammy winning something like that, you know, I'm gonna be like, oh, be nervous. I'm not gonna know where the aux cable plug-in goes
right,
in.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna know what an MP3 file is.
No, but and just to end it off for our listeners, like, don't always, don't always put your success on something else. Like, sometimes it's okay to be confident.
Right.
Unlike what he said. I was kidding earlier. Like, it's okay to be like, yeah, like, I'm good. Like, I got talent. Or, whatever you're doing in life or you're successful at. Like, sometimes it's okay to balls out, just be like, I know I got it like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it can affect you in the long run. You know what I mean? If you're constantly like that. And obviously, self-doubt can obviously help you success-wise to always keep pushing to do more and be better. But there's nothing wrong with sometimes having a little bit of confidence and being like, yo, I know I'm good.
Right. And that's within everything, folks. Like life skills, parenting skills, whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
building relationships, or you're good at listening. Just be confident. I mean, act like when you feel the sense where you belong there, you're good. No matter what else, everything else falls out the window. You belong somewhere. You belong on that stage. You belong in that meeting. You belong in this conversation and negotiation about your salary. You belong, in that studio. You belong there. So, and then that will take you to the next level. Because I can tell you right now, from self-experience, that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just know that you belong.
Yeah, and everyone has somewhere that they belong.
Always.
Even if you haven't found it.
And if you got haters in your life, send them prayers and keep it moving. That's my girlfriend. Her name is Kim. Keep it moving. Just saying.
Who the fuck's Kim? I'm just kidding.
Anyway, so that's it right there. Ooh, neck pop and all, I guess. Anyway, that's episode 10.
That's how we go to conclude this season. We appreciate all of the listeners and followers that we have so far. And, we're going to continue going on with this. And hopefully you guys like what we have. Drop down, for those that are watching the video, some comments. Hit us up. Send us some DMs on some topics you'd like to hear from us. We're open to anything.
We're all about the critiques, baby.
Yes.
Oh, that's my line. That's my line. I like that. But yeah,
go ahead and hit that line.
Yeah, because you know what's about to happen. So this your boy L Boogie and your girl GiGi with a new school critique with a excuse me. Now you got me saying critique too much.
What are you gonna say?
Whatever.
A new school critique with a new school critique?
Yeah,
old school?
See, just don't do it. We're gonna do it again. Nah, man, this is boy L Boogie. We going out. New school technique with an old school critique. Yeah.
Peace.